a world where mental health matters. Through Food for Thought, we aim to create awareness and empower individuals to take charge of their mental well-being. Join us as we delve into the complexities of mental health and navigate the path towards healing and resilience. Food for Thought with Professor David Ndete.
Welcome to another episode of Food for Thought with Professor Ndete. This is the third episode of a series we are doing on stress and stress management. If you haven't watched the first and the second episode, I would encourage you to go onto the Family Media YouTube channel or download the Family Media app from the Google Play Store or from the Apple Store. Get to watch episode 1 and episode 2. But today we want to talk about some of the signs and the symptoms of stress. Last week I introduced you to a gentleman called Eden Davis, and he's sharing his journey with us of how he got stressed and how it affected his life. Today we want to hear what he says about what are some of the things that were signs and symptoms for him to know that he's stressed. Listen to this.
I was so devastated then because I felt like nothing was going to work for me. It was so painful. I think it was towards the end of the year. It was 29th towards the end of the year. It was so painful. I felt I had not eaten anything that morning. So I just threw away my phone. I was in that coach there. All negative thoughts started running through my mind. And that whole day, till the following day in the morning, actually I was in that coach until the following day. I didn't leave that place. So I was not receiving calls and nothing. So the following day, in the evening, my nephew came. So when he came in the evening, he realized something different. I was a bit down. I had not eaten. Nothing around me was okay. But I still didn't tell him anything. So we spoke a little, then he prepared some stuff. I tried eating kidogo, but then he left. Then I was all alone. I decided to switch off the phone. So I remember he came on that first bag. I was just indoors. I think then he realized I have a problem. Then he decided to stay around. Yeah, so trying to cheer me up, you know. He looked for this motivational stuff, but I told him, by the way, I don't want to listen to those things. Actually, I didn't want any motivation, because I felt those things don't work. And you know, I'm that person who was so hopeful in life. I did the other course, it didn't work out. I decided to go back to school, and now finished internship, nothing. So I went home, I think to recollect. So for that period when I was home, I felt like it will be a disappointment to my parents to stay home. So I just came back to the town. Stayed there briefly and came back to town to try out a few things. But then most of the things I was trying, they were not working. Remember, I don't have a job. I need to sustain myself. I resorted to doing some manual activities, at least to keep life moving. And deep inside my heart, I was like, okay, I've put so much effort in this, I've put so much effort in this, and there is no reward to it. So I think that's when disappointment started cropping in. And I had this feeling like, why is it taking long? And sometimes you look at your peers and they have made some progressive steps in life. Sometimes you would visit them and, you know, the kind of life that they have, when you compare with yourself, and you feel so much disappointed. I think that could worsen your situation. So I think that is when it started to happen for me, that something was wrong with me.
Loss of appetite, you don't want to eat, and hibernation too, you don't want to talk to people, you just keep it to yourself.
Some people overindulge in alcohol, but you wouldn't realize if it's stress or they just love the alcohol. So you have to talk to people, get a good support system, then it will help you pull through, because most of our population is going through stress, especially after COVID. People are going through a lot. The economy is not also very okay after election. So we need support groups, and good support systems right from the family.
You just get mad at people randomly.
Know someone you've known better, and to know if you have stress, Like, so many do sleep a lot. Some deny even food. So that one will actually tell you that someone is highly stressed up.
Or someone who is rude. Unapata, when you try to talk to him, explain to him something, like they are so rude. So that's how you can know someone if he's stressed, because he's not the real person the way he is. Maybe anakwanga polite and turn out to be rude.
Actually, if you have lived with someone and you know how he or she reacts, so if you see any change, you can probably be able to know that he or she is on stress.
Different views from different Kenyans on the streets of Nairobi as well on the signs and symptoms of stress. We are back with Professor Ndetei. Professor, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Today I want us to look at signs and symptoms of stress.
Yep.
You know, I remember, I think it was on the last episode I asked you, is it possible for somebody to be stressed?
Yes.
And they don't know, and you said yes.
Yes.
So what are some of the things that would tell you somebody is undergoing some negative stress?
I think we can divide them into two broad categories so that we make it very easy for the lay people. Let me start with the physical, because those are very easy to understand.
Yes.
What happens when people are stressed is that the body produces certain chemicals. Yeah. We call them adrenaline or noradrenaline. They don't have just certain chemicals in the body, in that part of the brain. And these chemicals travel in the blood. And when they reach certain parts of the body, they cause certain symptoms. One of them is that they can cause muscle spasm, contraction of muscles. Okay, yeah?
Yes.
And then what happens when that happens, how they know, I mean, how it presents is something like this. They get terrible headaches. And these headaches are very characteristic. There are different, 1,000 different types of headaches, many types, very many types of headaches. But they get uncomfortable feeling on top of the head. On the top of the head. And they will tell you, I am getting these headaches, and it's like something is pulling my muscles. In other words, they are describing contraction of the muscles.
The muscles, yes.
And what happens is that the muscles would be attached here and the back part of the head, and if they contract, what happens is that is like they squeeze out the blood that is going to the muscles. So you get pain in the muscles because the muscle is not receiving enough blood. Other people get problem with the eyes. They will tell you, because of the muscles in the iris, they tell you, I am having some problems in reading or getting blood visions. These are symptoms that are located around the head, the area of the head. And then there are other symptoms that are not so. They are not physical symptoms. They are symptoms to do with the head. Okay. And the thing that they tell you is that you or even the relatives, you tell you, our patient, our relative, seems to be very irritable.
Yes.
Yeah. We start talking to him, na naruka na kurusha maneno, very, very irritable, getting upset at very minor things. They call it flying off the handle. The slightest provocation.
Yes.
If you get that kind of irritability, which you get mainly from the relatives who are interacting with him, then you are probably dealing with the stress related.
Okay.
Yeah. They also get these are things that you ask, because for them they don't think that these things are related to stress.
Yes.
There's one which is also very important. Please allow me to say.
Yes.
There is what we call reduced concentration, which unfortunately can be mistaken for loss of memory. Loss of memory, the way we understand it, is very different from reduced concentration.
Okay.
And the reduced concentration is like, and they may present it like dementia, like loss of memory. It's like a good example would be a mother who is boiling water in a sufuria to make ugali for the family. And when the water is boiling, they decide they want to go and get the unga. But then when they get out, what was I doing?
What was I doing?
Yes. Or they put their money somewhere, they forget where they put the money, and then everybody is probably, who stole my money? That kind of thing. Or them having little problems of remembering things, which is temporary. It's very, very temporary. That's not loss of memory. It's poor concentration.
It's poor concentration.
And then if it goes on, it may present with all kinds of psychiatric conditions, the most important one of them being depression and anxiety, which also comes they come with their own symptoms.
Okay. There are two I wanted to ask you about that I've heard of. I've heard of insomnia, where you're so stressed you can't sleep. And then there's stress eating.
Stress eating?
Yes. Because you're so stressed, you just want to eat.
Yes.
And you end up gaining so much weight.
We can talk about that.
Yes.
Let's talk about insomnia. If you have initial insomnia, it's most likely that you are dealing with anxiety. Because your mind is on the run. It cannot cool down, as it were. These two others in the middle, maybe depression, anxiety. To us in the morning is usually depression. And of course the final one, which in the morning is a combination of all of those things, of having not had enough sleep. So sleep problems can cause problems, can be a reflection of or stress somewhere, which may be at different stages. You talked about eating.
Stress eating.
Yes. It can take two different forms. Let's call it just eating. It can take two phases. One of them is, the commonest one is loss of appetite. They don't want to eat. They have this kind of food, it's not good for them. They just don't have the appetite. That is the commonest presentation of anxiety and depression. There are others who the opposite just happens. They are a small percentage, but then it can be abnormal, because if they are overeating and they start eating junk, in junk food, then that is a problem. It's a minority, but it does occur.
It does occur. Professor, I'm out of time. I think I belong to that second group. For me, when I feel stressed, give me some bread, my friend. Give me some bread. Give me some junk food. And then allow me to just relax. I'll feel better.
Yes.
Our time is up for Food for Thought with Professor Ndetei for today. I hope today's information has been beneficial to you. Ujieke kwa ratili, some of the signs that Professor has told us, are they things you're seeing in your life? Are there patterns you're seeing in your life? If there are, don't ignore. Talk to somebody, get some help. Don't allow yourself to go on the downhill, because sometimes when you get there, mteremko inakuwaga ni haraka upesi, and before you know it, you are down under, and it becomes a whole new can of worms to deal with. Next week, we'll look at the effects and the impacts of stress. Do have a great day, and God bless.
Food for Thought with Professor David Ndetei.